What I do in private subconsciously leaks out in my public interactions with people. My mind was blown, and I have not been able to get that out of my head since I heard about it. It has made me a bolder and more confident person knowing these hacks. So I'm going to get into it with all of you. It all originated from Chase Hughes, a podcast I listened with him. He is a behavioral expert. Maybe you've seen his content. It's super interesting. So we're going to dive into that. Quick intro first. Welcome to the channel. I have a psychology research background as well as a project management background. I'm all about making growth and self-improvement and mindset practical and tangible. I think a lot of stuff out there, it's very conceptual and abstract, and it's all about, for me at least, I want to make it tangible tips. How can I actually integrate this into my life? So we're going to get right into it. So your private standards become your public signal. Confidence isn't built in public, it is built in private and then revealed in public. So when it comes to self-integrity and identity congruence, like when your actions match your internal standards for yourself, your brain registers this coherence. But when you don't, you will get subtle internal friction. So for example, you might have less eye contact with people. Maybe you are less decisive. Maybe you are being people pleasing. Maybe you second guess yourself and you don't also hold boundaries when people, when people cross your boundaries, you don't stand up for yourself. So all of these little things that are kind of tied into your overall confidence. And the funny thing is, and this was an example that was in the Chase Hughes podcast that originally started all this for me. I believe his example was literally just not doing your laundry. So something as small as not keeping a simple household chore promise to yourself. Over time, if you keep having these habits or you keep telling yourself you're going to do stuff and then you don't end up doing it, that interferes with your self-concept and with your confidence, even if you're maybe very successful in other areas. Maybe your career is like soaring, but if you can't keep a simple promise to yourself, that is going to interfere with the way that you subconsciously see yourself, and it erodes self-trust. So moving on, Chase Hughes calls this subcommunication. So, and he frames this as leakage. So like it leaks out when you are interacting with people socially or publicly or wherever that may be. So again, some more examples that he gives: posture, vocal certainty, pacing, micro hesitations. And it's all influenced by whether your self-image is solid or whether it's cracked. So even tiny things like clutter, unfinished tasks, like admin that maybe you have been like putting on the back burner for weeks, months, sometimes years, ignoring those basics, it will subtly broadcast that you're out of alignment with yourself. And people will often read that as like uncertainty, low status, lack of authority, or just that something feels off, even if they can't articulate why. And you probably can't articulate why either, because like, again, I had no idea that this was a thing. But I think it is super interesting because, again, I mean, you could be like a high-powered person in your career or maybe in other areas of your life, but if those little things that you promise yourself that you will do, whether that's some admin, whether that's going on a walk, whether that's running a dishwasher, if you can't fulfill those things, it doesn't matter like how high status you are in other areas, that's still subconsciously telling your body and your nervous system that you can't trust yourself, and that's going to harm you. So there's just my little screenshot again of Chase. So moving on, the brain as a prediction machine. So your brain is constantly predicting, like, can I rely on me? Or asking, can I rely on me? And every small action, like I just alluded to with like the dishwasher or going on a walk, every small action is a data point. And you don't realize this, but your brain is looking at these data points. So if you do the thing you said you were going to do, your confidence will compound. But if you avoid the thing, you will have trust debt that accumulates. And so whether that's a messy environment, undone basics, postponed self-care, your brain infers, I'm someone who avoids, and that changes how boldly you move in the world, whether you are aware of it or not. And so the key nuance here is that it isn't about perfection. Like, I'm not trying to communicate that. In fact, I'm like a proponent for the fact that I actually think we should lower the standard of perfect so that we do more. I don't think that excellence should be the enemy. I think, I don't know what the saying is, like excellence is the enemy of great or something like that. But it's about keeping small promises, maintaining minimum standards, and acting in a way that supports your identity. So whether that is making your space beautiful, or whether that is eating healthy, or like obviously you're not always going to eat healthy, but have those staples in your diet for nutritional purposes. Whether that is going out on a walk or taking a moment in nature, if that's something that you told yourself, or just simple habits and resolutions. If you told yourself you're gonna do A, then do A. And not even for the sake of whatever A is. I don't know why I'm using that as my placeholder, but say that you told yourself, I'm gonna go on a walk every day. If you don't do that, not only are you not going on a walk every day and not gaining the benefits from that, but you are also teaching yourself that you can't be trusted. So private to public leak, I think my numbers are off, by the way, so my apologies for that, but a couple examples again. So avoiding small responsibilities can lead to hesitation, people pleasing, over-explaining. A messy space you've mentally given up on can lead to background stress, less mental clarity, and lower self-respect. I really think that it's all about the self-respect, personally. Promising yourself you'll do things tomorrow, subconscious belief that your word doesn't mean much. Skipping basics like sleep, food, movement, weaker emotional regulation, and therefore a shakier presence. And so for the practical framework, yeah, my numbers are like fully off. So ignore the numbers, but invisible wins. I think that you should try to create some invisible wins in your day. So whether that's making a bed, clearing your one surface, respond to maybe a DM or a message or a text that you've been like kind of putting off. Maybe it's pinned to the top. I have that sometimes. It's pinned to the top of my text and I gotta answer, don't get to it. Maybe it's 5 minutes of movement. Maybe it's putting laundry in the basket instead of the floor. It could be so simple. But these aren't productivity hacks. Like, I'm not trying to make this about productivity like I usually do. It's about identity deposits. And I think this is such a beautiful term, identity deposits. And it truly changes the way that you will show up in the world. So if you want less self-doubt, clearer speech, easier boundaries that you respect, less need to prove yourself, and a more grounded presence, I truly encourage you to try this. You don't feel more confident because you're more impressive or because you're doing like, I don't know, some sort of super embellished, impressive thing. You feel confident because you're reliable to yourself. So I encourage you to pick one thing or maybe a couple of things today that future you will quietly respect you for. It can be the most simple thing, and I think the takeaway here is the fact that something like running a dishwasher or clearing your space or making your bed could make you more powerful in, high-profile situations. That's magical. Like, that is so cool in my opinion. And yeah, encourage you to try it for yourself.